Well, good evening, everyone. My name is Sean Patrick Maloney. I'm one of the candidates running for Congress. I'm running for Congress because Dan Hayworth is the worst member of Congress I've ever seen. And we need to beat her, and we need to bring some common sense back to Washington. That's what I want to do. This race is about who you're fighting for. It's about who you're fighting for, who you care about, what you want to do. And for too long, we have watched this Republican crowd in Washington fight for everybody but us, right? And look who's supporting them. It's no wonder. So they're fighting for big oil companies, they're fighting for special interests, and they're fighting for people who don't need anybody fighting for them because they're doing just fine. But middle-class families, working middle-class families like the one I grew up in, are getting squeezed. And I hear it every day. Now, I live right up the road. I live on East Mountain Road South. So I can promise you a couple things tonight, which is not only will you get a congressman who cares about your problems and your families, but who is your neighbor and who will live here, who is living here. And so I care about this area. But let me just tell you a little bit about what I think is at stake, why I'm running, what qualifies me for this office. So, you know, I have had the good fortune, a good part of my career to work side by side with President Clinton. A lot of you probably know that. And I think that's important in this race because if you look back in 1993 when Bill Clinton took office, and you look at the problems that President Clinton faced, a lot of those are the same problems we're facing today. The president had to deal with a serious economic budget problem. He had to deal with an economy that wasn't creating enough jobs. He had to deal with a tax structure that was out of date. He had to deal with investments that had been delayed for far too long. And what did the president do? The president balanced the budget, yes, but he did it the right way. He protected Medicare, he protected Social Security. He kept making investments in education and in infrastructure in the future. We balanced the budget, you bet, created surpluses, in fact, for the first time in 30, 40 years. Paid down, not just the deficit, because that went to zero, but paid down the national debt. And what happens? The Republicans came in, and they blew it. And now we've got a lot of the same problems we had before. So I talk about my service with President Clinton because I think it matters. I think it shows a blueprint for how government ought to work when we put people first. And I am very excited that President Clinton has endorsed me in this race. He did that today, and he is going to be supporting me in this primary because he knows that I have the experience and the values that work in Washington. Now, I'm also proud that 10 unions have endorsed my campaign. The representatives of working men and women all across the Hudson Valley, from the Teamsters to the AFL-CIO, to the Carpenters, to the UAW, to 1199, home health care workers, building security personnel. Why does this matter? It matters because that's who I want to work for. That's who I want to fight for. And we've got to put this coalition together. And if we put the right coalition together, and if we work hard, and if we stand for the right things, we can bring some common sense back to Washington. And with your help, I want to do that on June 26th. I'm asking for your vote, and I appreciate the opportunity to be with you tonight. Thank you.